No time to film, so I decided to use my Boki avatar this week. This will be a shorter video that only completes Harry Potter's torso. After this, we will work on the legs, which are quite challenging, and I didn't want to make this video super long. So enjoy some easy rounds this week and prepare for a challenge next week. Let's get started. I feel like I stuffed Harry Potter's head a little too much, so I've taken out some stuffing. And now gathering our burgundy thread and our needle, we are going to make Harry Potter's tie. And we're going to do that by coming in from the underneath side and taking 3 vertical stitches from the white down to the gray. So right centered with his mouth, coming up inside. I think right about there. So then we're going to go down and make our first vertical stitch, coming back to the same area, just a little to the right or left. We're going to make another stitch on each side. I want to try to keep them as even as possible. And then another one, so it just kind of thickens up his tie, makes it more visible. And then we'll do 2 horizontal lines on his tie. Right over the top of the vertical. At this point, if the yarn that you have kept attached, in my case, in our case, the light or the medium gray yarn, if that is becoming cumbersome, you can certainly pull it out because our next round will begin with burgundy yarn. Okay, so now we have his tie completed, and we'll go ahead and cut off our burgundy. I go ahead and clip my gray as well. And push it all back up inside and pick up the yellow line, yarn. Boy, that's hard to say. The yellow yarn. And we will make a diagonal stripe across the burgundy tie. At this point, you're certainly not going to need much of that yellow. So again, coming underneath, you can put your tie any direction. She has it going from bottom right to top left. She suggests 1 stitch, so we'll pull that through and see what we think. If you need another stitch, you can certainly do that. A little bit hard to get that needle through. I think that's cute. 1 stitch looks like it does it for mine, but personal preference. Moving on with stitch 20, we are going to single crochet in each stitch around. So I'm going to start at the back and create that first stitch, leaving a good tail that I can tuck in. If you want, you can still attach the paper clip to that end. I think I'm okay at this point without it. Maybe I'm not. So let's get that first stitch started. And we're just going to single crochet all the way around. And since we started with 18 stitches, we will end with 18 stitches. We're back around to the beginning, and since our Harry Potter only needs one burgundy stripe there, I am going to go ahead and clip my tails, pull that last stitch through, and tighten it off. Since mine are so close, I may even just, to make certain everything's secure, just do a little slip stitch there, because you can start with the gray and work around that little knot. It won't show, but I know that the burgundy will not slip out at all with that knot in it. All right, we are now on round 21 and switching to the dark gray yarn. Actually, let me back up a minute. Our round 20 is with the medium gray yarn. We do not switch to the dark gray until round 21. The burgundy row, she did not call it a round. She just had us add that at the end of making our diagonal stripe for the tie. So going on to round 20, we switched to the medium gray, which is what we did his upper body with. It's honestly easier for me if I do the paper clip, so bear with me. I'm going to slip that paper clip on. It holds that end down so nicely and keeps me from having an extra long tail. Okay, we are single crocheting around, so another round of 18. Now, round 21, we're changing to dark gray, and we're going to do a row of 18 with the dark gray. And then we're going to do the back loop only and single crochet in each round. So we're sticking with the dark gray for 2 rounds, So again, I'm going to cut the tails, pull my stitch through, and tuck those inside. And if you like, you can go ahead and make that slip knot here, but certainly you don't have to. So picking up our gray yarn. There's not a lot of dark gray yarn, so I didn't bother to roll it into a ball. I may live to regret that. We'll see. I can already tell it might have been easier to just roll it into a ball. But that's okay. Moving on. My goodness, I can't get my first stitch. There we go. All right, 18 around to join. Back with our medium gray. Or back around to where our dark gray started. Here we are back to where we started our dark gray, and for round 22 we will single crochet using the back loop only. So you might need to stretch out your pattern a little bit so that you can make certain you're only picking up that back loop. Now we've completed our last round with our dark gray, and you can tell doing the back loop only kind of gives it a looser feel to the crochet stitches. And then we're going to stuff the body as much as possible and begin working on the legs. So go ahead and pull that through and finish off with the dark gray. You can see in this instance you would not want to make a tie here because the beginning tail and the ending tail are way too far apart. So the best thing to do is pull this stitch really tight, tuck it into the body, and then go ahead and grab your needle and weave this stitch inside. And that should tie it off. You can even split the yarn a little bit so the stitch is not noticeable, or you could just put it up through the stuffing a few times, I'm going to try to split the yarn. It makes it a little harder to pull through, but I know it's not going to come out. And then end on the inside so you can cut it off. Or tuck it in, your preference. Now she says to stuff the body as much as possible because after this we're going to move on to the legs. So I'm going to come back to our photo. It's just nice to have that handy. And since I felt like I overstuffed the head and made his head just too big, I want to look a little more closely at his body because we want his body to be at least as wide as the outside of his head, according to her picture. I'm not sure mine's going to make it, so I'm going to try to flatten that out. And again, if you feel like yours is just out of proportion too much, you could certainly go back in and pull more stuffing out of the head or add stuffing, whichever you feel you need to do.